Welcome to Clipping In. Saturday the 13th of May. I've just passed over Queensbury and Mountain Village and I'm heading towards Addingham and the Yorkshire Dales. It's a chilly kind of morning really. The weather forecast is talking about it being the hottest May day ever with sort of 17 or 18 C later, but when I set off at 8 AM it was a chilly 6, hence the arm warmers and knee warmers. Goodness me. Northeasterly wind, I think that's making it feel colder. I've just crossed over Flappit Moor heading for Keighley and it's bitter. Let's hope the weather forecast got it right for once. 27 miles ridden. I've passed through Carlton, gateway to the Dales, and now the real sort of countryside begins. Regular viewers will know that where I live, sort of south of Bradford, I have about, any Dales ride, I have about 25 miles to Skipton and 25 home. So I always have that kind of 50 miles of out and back to subtract off any Dales ride total, just to clear me with the Trade Descriptions Act. Eagle-eyed bike spotters will have seen that I'm on the long distance, the titanium bike, but I've got different wheels in this time. I've got my 2009 Mavic Cosmic Carbon. They're about 50mm deep, I think. I'm interested to see if I can get a little bit of free speed or reduce my effort, whichever, I don't mind. Passing through Broughton, heading to Gargrave on fairly quiet lanes now, and it should be lanes most of the way to Rhylstone. The sun's coming out, maybe the weather forecast was correct after all. I think this ride is going to be somewhere in the low 70s in terms of miles. Feels like enough of a ride today. Time to climb. So I'm on the back lane now, heading to Craco. And as I mentioned earlier, this ride probably a little shorter than some of the standard Clipping In Saturday rides, but that 103 mile hilly thing that I did 2 weeks ago completely poleaxed me, to the extent that I wasn't just bike tired, I was completely jiggered, like virus tired, and it took over a week until I felt human again. So I think until I can figure out what's causing that on the long rides, it could be fuel, hydration, overheating, it could be just that I'm unfit and overweight and that the hills are too hard for me. They don't feel it because I finish okay and it hits me 2 days after and just sort of sits on me then for a full week. So while the weather's starting to pick up and there are opportunities for midweek rides, I'd rather be in a condition to take them. So yeah, slightly shorter rides on Clipping In for a while. You can just catch a glimpse there of an old cabin. That was part of a schools camp, originally started before the war to give country holidays to the kids from the cities, and then during the war it was used as a centre for evacuees. I think it was still in use until the 80s as a scout camp. Linton. Some beautiful Dales countryside now. Dry stone walls, limestone, rolling hills, rolling lanes as well. As I'm heading towards Burnsall. Ah yes, lovely, lovely Dales. Approaching Burnsall now, and I have a choice of whether I want to go on the back route to Baden Towers or straight up Burnsall Bank. I'll decide in the next minute. Wharf Valley, and heading towards Burnsall Bank, up through the trees. It's the trees were cleared from the top sometime since I've been packed up, and it gives the crest of the hill a very different feel, being light and bright. It used to be very sort of sinister and overhung by trees. Oh well, that's Burnsall Bank out of the way. Have a look around. I should have a tailwind now for a lot of the way home, unless it switches. Quick stop to change the GoPro battery. It doesn't seem to last very long at all nowadays. I've been talking to myself for the last 10 minutes. So fresh battery now. This will at least see me home. I've ridden 46 miles. I think, depending on which way I go back from Addingham, about another 30 I think will see me home. But it is brightening up, it's sunny, but it's still a little bit nippy. That northeast wind is not giving up, so I'm not quite sure where they're getting these record-breaking temperatures from, but not around here at least. But there are compensations. And if you just stop, you can hear all the different birds and livestock. It's wonderful. Nature's music. Well, I've just been up a smashing little climb. Rather than face the main road, you can see there's a car just coming up now. Rather than face the main road over the Kringles, Addingham to Silsden, I came up this little lane that I've only descended before, and it's a beauty. Every time I was going to thought, right, I'll film something, it kicked up again, so I had to put the camera away. So I never quite managed to get anything coherent. But yeah, what a great climb. I'll have to look at its name, I've no idea. Turner Lane, there we go. And now I'll be heading on here, dropping down, connecting back into that sort of busy Kringles road to go through Silsden. Up there is the edge of Ilkley Moor, where if you look very carefully on the skyline, you can see a lot of walkers today. My goodness me, very popular. I do hope they're all observing the code like me and wearing a hat. Climbing over Flappit Moor now, big climb out of Keighley's done. Just got the ramps to go through Denholm and Queensbury. 63 miles ridden. So yeah, I feel remarkably fresh compared to when I'm normally doing a piece to camera around here. It's been interesting riding these Mavic Cosmics compared to the Sirium that I've been riding with 28mm GP 5000s. These I fitted 25s, but on the old rims they only blow up to 23.5, so they feel very skinny. Thankfully the titanium bike soaks up road buzz regardless of what tyre and pressure you're using, but I can still feel the difference. It's an interesting ride. I'm not sure they're any quicker. I think I'm beyond saving in terms of aerodynamics. Passing the Raggles Inn, which is like the gateway to Queensbury. It had a spell being called the Queen's Head or the Queen's Arms, but now it's back to being the Raggles. All is well in the world. And up there is Mountain, which is the highest part of Queensbury. Must be like living in Tibet, living up there. Well, a little over a mile to go. Not been a bad ride at all. Sunny, although it's never really warmed up. We'll see what the Strava has to say for the distance, but I'm guessing somewhere around 75. Just about right. Of course then, having read the small print, I've got to see if I can do it again tomorrow. It's always the small print. Anyway, for this edition of Clipping In, goodbye for now, and see you again very soon for some more outings on the sunny Yorkshire roads.